Welcome back to Let's Talk Racing Model. I'm your host, Harrison Paul, and today we're going to talk about Serena Williams. Now, I don't like talking about people, that's her sister, but it's definitely a topic of discussion regarding the topic at hand. I think it's something that we can discuss and divulge and unpack. I'm going to show you the image on the screen right now for you guys to see what has the internet divided over. Check this out.
The show today is black by popular demand.
Yes,
What does that mean to you?
Be yourself, own who you are, and just black is popular, and it's culture, and it's changing culture, and it's been changing culture for decades.
So, of course, people are noticing a change within her looks, but we understand makeup can have that effect. But for me, I want to discuss more on a topic that I have burning on my heart, and it's always burning on my heart regarding our community. And it hurts me to know how much accountability we lack. We lack so much accountability. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's the husband, because she's married to a white husband. Oh, it's this or it's that. And like a lot of comments about basically why she may have changed her appearance. They feel her appearance has been changed. For me, the most important thing that I think we should take from this is our community's lack of accountability. Our community's lack of accountability. One thing I've noticed is I've taken on a culture of outing myself. I really love to do that. I think the best way for me to set an example for what we should be doing as a community is to start by doing it to myself, right? Rather than saying you did this or you did this and you did that. Now I speak for Black Irish because Black people in Ireland because I understand that culture better than I understand any other culture. I'm a student of African American culture because I think there's so much to derive from them. But I speak definitely for the culture within Ireland and the European culture. And I understand that we did so much damage. Of course, we were just the ones who were perpetuating something that we didn't begin. The narrative of the Black woman being ugly was something that began from the white man. This is not something for us. It's not a secret. And we understand this. But I think when we fail to take accountability, anybody who was a part of perpetuating that, that is when I don't see this desire for change. I think a lot of the times one of the main reasons why we don't is because I feel that a lot of us may still have deep-rooted beliefs down there. A lot of white men would rather date outside their race. A lot of men find themselves finding white women more attractive than they find Black women. They call it a preference. They call it a coincidence. Of course, they're going to call it a coincidence is because they don't see themselves coming out of this coincidence anytime soon. Once I started to evaluate myself and look myself in the mirror, I was ashamed of my preferences. I was ashamed because I understood where they were rooted. I was honest with myself and says, how is it easier for you to find a white woman attractive than it is for you to find a Black woman attractive? And why? What are the features of a white woman that you find attractive that a Black woman doesn't have? Okay, I like flowy hair. I remember when I was younger, I used to tell my mom, when I become successful, I'm going to get you those wigs that look real. It was a genuine aspiration for me as a young boy. And when I grew up now and I reevaluate and I revisit those times or revisit that sentence, it's something that you cannot just brush past. That I remember I used to look at my mother and say, I wish your hair looked as real as the girls that I'm dating. I know that's what you need, and I'm going to, because we remember back in the '06, '07, or those times, the wig game has definitely stepped up since then. And I remember what I guess has become more accessible. I remember it was easier for people to have a bad wig if we go back to those times. But the celebrities, of course, would probably have the sew-in, would have all these different types of variations to it that could give them a better quality look, more for what they're looking for, a Caucasian, phenotype, a white woman visual in what they're trying to achieve. Sorry. And the fact that I can revisit that and see that and really trace my thought process, these type of things, I had to sit down and ask myself why. You know, I think Serena Williams is definitely a perfect example for all of us because I think she is definitely a figure of Black beauty. And the one that the white man definitely tried to demonize the most. Why? Because it was furthest away from anything that seemed Eurocentric. So women like Serena Williams definitely got the hardest hit when it comes to what we all went through in Western society. You know, these are the type of women who I think of often, who motivate me not to feel like, oh, look, I don't want white women to hate me because, so I'm not going to mention these biases that I saw. You know, I don't want white women never to kind of to be mad at me or have a negative perspective on me. I think about the Serena Williams of society. I think about their mere existence was considered ugly, especially here in Europe. And I think what they had to go through. And I think about the fact that they were the flowers in society who were never poured into. And I do all that I can in my older age to make up for what I did. And that's what helps me be shameless when I'm fighting or when I'm doing what I do, is because I feel like, you know, what's your little bit of popularity? What's your little bit of people not thinking you're strange? What's your little bit of, you know, composure that you're trying to hold on to when Black women have suffered? You understand? And I feel like when we as a community do not take accountability for what we put Black women through, or what we helped perpetuate, I think that is more of a problem than what you feel she may have done with her appearance. I think when we begin to look where we went wrong as a community and be honest with ourselves on what we were a part of perpetuating, I think that's when the healing starts and the strengthening starts. But the problem is, if we have a culture where it says you did it, you did it, you did it, and everyone doesn't go in their own house and look in the mirror and says, I did this, or no, I had this perspective. You know, I know a lot of revelations are coming out about us grasping and getting better understanding about, you know, the beauty standards that were set against us. But I still, if I'm being honest, I'm not seeing much men be honest and say, yo, you know, my bias came from this. My preference came from this. And I think that is the most disappointing part. And I think when we get to a place in our society, in our community, where we can be completely honest and transparent, I think our Black women will begin to heal, because there's nothing to hide, right? So that's just my take on what we should be really focusing on in our community. It's not what Serena is doing, but more so our own accountability for what we put women like Serena through. And of course, us sticking together so we can reestablish and rehabilitate the brokenness that came from, you know, this colonizing our minds, the colonization of our minds. And we can begin to free our minds from every aspect, the looks, how we handle each other, all sorts. And I think we should be fully focused. And I'll end on that. That's one of the main reasons why I am pro Black love, because I do think we have a history of handling each other not in the best of way, handling each other through the lens of trauma and creating more trauma. And I think that is why Black love is such an important factor and such an important hashtag meaning, because it is a declaration of the rehabilitation of the Black family and the Black union. And I think that we should not just act like, okay, it's gone, we'll move on. because it will not truly heal. It's probably why we're having the gender wars right now on Twitter and on all social sites. We need to heal. We need to be honest. And definitely, I believe. And I should actually then, you know, rightly so, add in the woman who had, you know, Who Did I Marry? The 50 parts, I think 51 parts. And of course, loosely, Charlemagne, he apologized today, which I did appreciate, but he made a loose comment.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I hear a lot of big back behavior. Does she have a big back?
She do give Sheila that was driving up the mountain.
Okay.
Yeah, she
Sheila
did.
was beautiful though.
Yeah, no. You talked about the big back,
Yeah,
not the
big back.
face.
Yeah, you're right. You're
She's
right.
cool.
What's your thing with big backs?
No, I'm just saying
recently?
because in a situation like this, some of you big backs, y'all got to stop being so thirsty for a man. There's a man out there for you. Okay, this woman believed all of this because she wanted to believe all of this. Big back belief isn't like everybody else's belief. Okay, she said it herself. He said everything I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
She wanted to believe whatever was
She
coming out of
wanted
his
to
mouth
believe that.
because she wanted a man so bad.
And then
Listen, all jokes aside, I tell y'all all the time, the easiest way to keep your own peace is to not disturb the peace of others. I disturbed that woman's peace, and that wasn't my intention. So I apologize if my words made her feel that way.
And I think we have to be so aware of what women could have gone through. Now, he says he didn't know, you know, he did not know what she looked like, but that's just a brilliant example of women of that stature, women of that build, women of that skin tone have always been the butt of the joke, have always been, as we were kind of shooting for what would take us higher up the ladder, we would always dump on our own women instead of creating our own ladder and placing our women at the top of that ladder. So I think she's a great example, and I think there's definitely still residue and remaining a mentality and cancer within our community and detrimental perspectives that we need to expose in order to grow from. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
And I'm on a mission for you.